Here's a experimental video. I have a new setup. To be quite honest, it's just fun setting up electronics, and disassembling them even is also interesting. I'm going to replace this map that's been there in the background for quite some time with just a picture of food. I can even put it on the map or whatever. That can't even be seen. Oh well. Okay, so here's Steam. I just have to periodically refresh this camera in order that it doesn't crash. Here's this Steam and Steam library. I started purchasing digital games via Steam, I would say in like 2013, and I would say like the only games like that I've really ever bought online on Steam were like under $5 or under $10. So it may look like a large library, yet they were bought on massive discount. The thing is that video games are like they have a really interesting angle in that a lot of the best video games were created in the mid-2000s, and conceptually in the 90s, just like with movies having the best content in the 90s, they haven't gotten better, and no one really notices because no one's really tried to develop a video game on their own. So the thing is, with each new iteration or each new update, sometimes visually the game will look better, and what is left behind is the real, I don't know what to say, like the real content, like the real meat part of the nachos, just for lack of a different analogy. And it doesn't appear that way. So one of the greatest examples, I have GTA 4 over here, and it is a complete huge pain for me to install. It looks like there's like multiple problems. My camera crashed, and now the TV is talking about some new input, like a ghost input or something. So the answer is no. AV, audio video connection, no. The number of different ways that I tried to install this game, because I have the game downloaded, and trying to reinstall it, the computer, it's impossible for it to detect the game, and for me to try to play the game for 30 minutes, however it may be, from the time that I press the play button until I'm having fun in this video game, for me to download 22 gigabytes is the same reason I don't live stream. Last year I experimented with live streaming, and every single one of them had like chunks missing out of it. It was almost like a blackout of drinking too much alcohol. My internet connection has never been up to date. I first had dial-up in the early 2000s up until probably the next decade. I finally got DSL modem and whatnot, and then it's still DSL in modern times. And what's so funny about Napster was there's a few cultural pieces that are unique to millennials, and Napster is most likely one of them. The biggest accomplishment, the biggest agenda that Napster had an effect on the mass public, especially millennials, or anyone who used Napster, was it got us acquainted with internet speeds. 52 kilobits per second was like an average download speed, and it would take, in one day, one might be able to download maybe 5 songs, and it's always hit or miss. Like over the weekend, maybe have 5 songs if you're lucky. And so now with YouTube having every music video already there, it's a different world. But one thing that millennials do know is internet speeds. So when people are buying another unique angle for internet companies is when people hear 5 megabits per second, or let's say 8 megabits per second, they'll think, wow, compared to the days of Napster, 8 Mbps/second, 8 megabits per second is like, 100 times greater than 8 kilobits per second. But the one deal is that a bit is only 1/8 of a byte. So 8 megabits per second may sound like 8 megabytes, but it's actually only 1 megabyte per second. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point. I just wanted to show that I have the game here. It's impossible to install. Therefore, I have a different way to have it going over here, and it was by what's called downgrading. So I downgraded the game into its original form, and the thing with some video games, if the video game's good, one might have to purchase the game multiple times. The biggest thing that I liked about GTA 4 was the realistic driving and how I felt like I was actually driving a car. And so I ended up spending like $100 to $200 on a setup with a driving steering wheel that had pedals. It had all this stuff. It's on one of my YouTube videos. And it was just for this one game here that I could play, and I could drive. So I have 2 mouse input over here. Press enter. So I had to repurchase this game over here in order that it would not work on PlayStation 3. So even though I purchased one of the low end of the higher end of the like steering wheel culture in video games, it's actually a different part of the simulator video game subculture. A lot of pilots have a setup with the full pilot system, buttons and switches and cockpit and all those different things. So even though I had this game on PlayStation, I repurchased it at Best Buy or something on DVD. I still remember a few years ago. And it was like, that was when I first started to notice that these video games don't have the consumer in mind. Even though, it's almost like they don't want me to enjoy my experience in video games. And I don't know how much other pieces of culture are different than that, like YouTube videos or movies or whatever it may be, music even. What was I just trying to showcase over here? I'm really not sure. So anyways, it's a really long-winded story of there's a built-in system for people who illegally download this game to have drunk mode happen, where the camera is like all jittery and the player's character is like stumbling around and stuff. I suppose, I don't know, because 2 years ago, in November 2019, I made a similar video here on PlayStation 3. I'll have to refresh the camera in 1 minute, where my character here I suppose it was Nico. I was talking as if I was saying the dialogue that Nico would be speaking. Now I've changed it a couple years later where I'm David talking to the imaginary character. Like, hey, Nico, turn around, or whatever. Or I call him Kincaid in some of my PlayStation videos. Anyways, after a long night, and Nico, it was like a really long, dramatic thing, and the video was called Getting Stacks of Money. He was driving what's known as a bread truck in some like action movies, and it's one of those like money trucks that carries money. He had the truck, and he lives at this apartment, and he was so tired. I myself was tired of making videos that I just didn't want to just like end it on a bad note or whatever. So he pulls into this alleyway here, and if I remember right, there's like some homeless people, and he hits some of the trash and just gets out and leaves the car there. And then I don't know if he runs into this diner to get some food, and the waitress is cute, if I'm just going to be honest. Oh, it's Mom's Spaghetti. That's so funny. The restaurant. Anyways, I remember he goes in here, or I think maybe he even bypasses this altogether. This always reminds me of the Dumb and Dumber scene. So what's funny is, a couple of years later, now with modifications, I can make the main character this diner lady. And what's funny is today, I don't know if I was checking the YouTube trending page, and Kid Rock from Motown, Detroit, was shouting out Detroit. I didn't realize until I watched the video today. At the opening part of his new song, he announces that he's from Detroit. And I thought, I have to tell Gunnar Lindblom on YouTube this great news, that going up on the YouTube trending music is Kid Rock in his new music video, released yesterday or today. Since then, I've watched a reaction from someone who's actually from Detroit. And what's strange is some of the greatest musicians of the 90s, Eminem especially being one of them from Detroit, Insane Clown Posse, another group from Detroit, and Kid Rock. That's three of like the biggest music stars are from Detroit. I would say, because Eminem is such a big star, that there was an Insane Clown Posse and Kid Rock. So the question is, why is Eminem such a big star? And Mom's Spaghetti is his restaurant that he just opened in downtown Detroit. It's right there on the border of Canada, just checking out a map. And so I went into, I had the song going, so I was listening to it, Kid Rock's new song. I was checking my home feed on YouTube, and I saw that Gunnar Lindblom, in a recommended video, had a live stream going. I thought it was like a premiering video. Generally, I don't join premiering videos on YouTube into the chat, and only live chats, trying to have a discussion, have a chat with the host of the channel, whoever it may be. Steve-O just interviewed Aaron Carter, and Aaron Carter was talking about going into the live chat of the premiering video. I don't know, am I doing that regularly? Am I like relegated to just being the live chat commenter guy? Yes, I am, and I'm not ashamed of that. So I'm not a celebrity or anything, so I don't have notoriety. Long story short, I said, okay, I'll just jump in and tell the good news to Gunnar Lindblom, and then I'll go back to hearing that Kid Rock music video. I just have refreshed the camera over here. And he has two guys. What are their names? There's Anthony. It's the word Gasso with an R in it. Is it Grasso? Anthony Grasso and Chicky. His name is Che. I can spell his name, but I can't pronounce it. Ceccilli. Chettelli, like telly, like telephone. Chettelli, yeah. Chicky Chettelli and Anthony Grasso. These guys are like Dumb and Dumber. And this scene right here, of this diner scene, is so reminiscent of the scene in the movie Dumb and Dumber when I can't remember. Oh, it's Lloyd and Frank. I think it's Frank and Lloyd. He's like, "Hey Frank, how do you like this song?" When they're in the car or whatever. Mockingbird, yeah, Mockingbird, that song. I know I sound boomerish. And one of the like offhand dialogues in the diner, he says, "You know the as the waitress comes up, he's like, you know the Monkees had a huge influence on the Beatles," and that's it. That's like the whole punchline. Anyway, so what's so funny is at Gunnar Lindberg's channel, he's interviewing Anthony Grasso and Chicky Chettelli. I hope I pronounced that right. And they're like Gun and Gunner, Dumb and Dumber, right? And long story short, again, is that that was in the AM hours of the day. I checked in just to tell Gunnar the good news. And towards like the beginning of the evening, I was still on these live chats, just typing away, copy and pasting away. For me to try to explain all the things that I said today, typing away in these live chats on my phone, I ended up at channel Chatting with Stacks after I got blocked from Jimmy Calandra's live discussion for even mentioning Francis. I'm just joking, whatever. I said I was trying to diss Mike Francis on his name, like Mike Will, and pushing Mike Will into one word, that's Michael. Michael like this. And what I said was Michael Francis brought down the Francis family as John Gotti brought down the Italian mob. And so I got blocked for that. Chatting with Stacks channel joined, and Stacks is Samuel L. Jackson's character from the movie Goodfellas. And that's the whole reason I titled my video 2 years ago, Getting Stacks of Money. Because my character here, Nico, had been driving a armored truck full of money. And it just so happened he was parking outside his girlfriend's house, right outside the diner here with this lady. And he was too tired to find a good parking place. And in the morning, everything, it was on the news. That's what the word was. And Joe Pesci's character, Tommy DeVito, what the real life version of Tommy DeVito is Tommy Two Guns DeSimone. So what Tommy DeVito said, Joe Pesci's character says the last words to Stacks, Edward's character, also a real life figure from the 1970s. He says, "You're always late, Stacks, even to your own blanking funeral." And so when Stacks joined late into Jimmy Calandra's video chat, I said, "Stacks, you're late." And it was either that comment that got me blocked or the other one that got me blocked. I'm not worried because I'll try to recruit someone, or I don't know what, to shoot Calandra a message, an unblock request. So that's the whole angle that I have here, is trying to make friends in a different social club video chat discussion and have them on my behalf send a email, send a unblock request, and hopefully it goes through, so long as the respect is there. Well, so what is this experimental video about, though? That was So I think I was part of 3 full live discussions in the YouTube sphere. It's called MobTube. Oh, Chris channel didn't block me. I've talked a lot of trash about Chris. The whole angle is there's also pizza, the Ponytail Tony. That's what I was going to open this video as. My middle name's Tony. I was going to call myself David. The Ponytail Tony, and have my hair in a ponytail. So I was part of like 4 channels. There was, the first one was Gunners for going on for 3 hours. After that ended, I joined Chris's at the Sicilian channel of MobTube. And surprisingly, he didn't block me. He did dish a lot of trash back. I quoted Marcus Valerius Martialis, Epigrams, a poet of the 1st century, and I don't know if I could do it word for word. I threw out a diss to a moderator that I've been conversing with for months. Her name is Miss Can't Be Wrong, and her name's very easy to, well, yeah, it's easy to make fun of because of that song, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. And shout out to Vegas Vinny. He's quoted that when Miss Can't Be Wrong has joined. I don't know. She's been around for months. Her favorite movie is The Godfather. For some reason, it's just a piece of trivia that I know she said that. In the earliest days of ModTube, it's still in its infancy. It's around 6 months old. That the same people have been having these discussions almost daily, sometimes all day. And so I took up one of Marshall's epigrams because she also told me she was a nurse. And when Lee Cole III, another MobTuber, when his girlfriend was hospitalized a few weeks ago, and what the question that I had posed was sort of, we take like a passive aggressive approach of still asking questions about real people and sort of using fictional characters such as Don Vito Corleone. And my question to Miss Can't Be Wrong in, I can't remember what chat it was, what video, I could add it to a watch later playlist. I asked her, I said, because Lee Cole III had joined the chat, and I wanted to ask him, although I was reluctant, or try to give him advice. When Miss Can't Be Wrong, the nurse, she said she was a nurse. I asked her myself, I said, I'll say what I said about Don Vito Corleone in a minute, but I said, will Lee Cole III's girlfriend have a higher chance of making it out of the intensive care unit, and I'm asking you, Miss Can't Be Wrong, because you're a nurse, if someone in her family prepares like a sort of, I didn't want to say a hospice, but like an at-home quarantine type thing. And she said yes. And now, a couple of weeks later, I'm sure Lee Cole knows the exact amount. It was about 3 weeks that she is home now, safe. Everyone was worried. And so, anyway, so today, Miss Can't Be Wrong had blocked me out of one of the chats or put me in timeout. And so I quoted, I copy and pasted one of Marshall's epigrams talking about Dr. Samachis. It's been going around for 2,000 years. It's like a little blurb. And it says, I was not ill, Dr. Samachis, when I asked for your advice. 100 medical students and 100 jabs were poking and jabbing me. And, I wasn't ill when I asked for your assistance, Dr. Samachis. But now, I didn't have a sickness, but now I do. And so I inserted Dr. Samachis for Miss Can't Be Wrong. And I changed her name into, because she's a nurse, Miss or Dr. Miss shouldn't what? Shouldn't something. It was really funny, at least to me. And so that's just to clarify for Chris. Chris was like, what are you saying here? I would hope that people would try to understand what I'm quoting by researching the quote that I paste in there. Oh well, so here I am trying to make a clarification. There's a lot of great epigrams from Marshall. I first learned about, let me switch over. So I have a secondary thing over here now that my phone's almost done, and that's Tropico 4. It's sort of a government simulator. I don't know how to say it. It's how I learned about the significance of transporters in a larger part of the economy. Also, all parts of the economy, how they all function together, whereas I'm the only one in charge. That's what this video game simulator is, and it's unique to millennials, people my age, in my opinion. Video game culture reached its peak with stuff like this. Looks like it might not run. Video game culture reached its peak with government simulators like SimCity or Tropico, and it caught on for us, and it skipped over anyone in the generation after us. Year I was born was 1988. Oh, it looks like it was loading there. So here's one game. It's a supercomputer. I got multiple video games over here. Well, there's the cursor. This has happened before, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to figure out why it's not working. Am I going to lose this whole speech? Perhaps. I still have 11% battery power. Anyways, there's not a declaration. It's like, what is it? It's called an edict of sort of like declaring martial law. And there's a poet named Martialis. I'll just go ahead and show. Oh, it's not going to work? Not going to work for some reason? Okay, it's going to work over here. So what I'm going to have my character transform into that lady there, I hope. Or any other character in the game. Her name is like Waitress or whatever. If I'm not mistaken, Hooker number 1 was a part of the video Getting Stacks of Money, or at least the video right before it. It was like Nico was talking to his cousin Roman. What's happening now? Nico was talking to his cousin Roman. Oh, I can even have Dimitri. Dimitri is like one of my favorite characters because my last name Petrino is a lot like Dimitri. Wow, it looks like he's beat up too. He's beat up in one of them, but not in the other one. Oh well. Long story short, I always thought the Waitress was the most attractive character in the entire game. There's so many different characters over here. On page 7. Page 8. This is interesting. What does Dodgy 01 mean? Looks like someone I know. Dork. Oh, wow. Alright, I'll just go ahead and show you. It's a punchline. It's this Belle Delphine chick made into a video game character. I pressed the wrong button, like stuttering. That one right there. Okay, so she's even more attractive than that the lady who works at the diner. And so that's like really something. And I'll have to change the walking animation. That's one of the coolest features. I really have to end the video because there's not much time. Did I press the wrong button? Just real quick, I'll show the walking style. Okay, so that's a different person, way of walking. One that looks more natural is the goal here. I'm just doing random walking styles. That's a natural one, and her arms don't like move through. So anyways, I suppose that's the end of the video so that it does not crash. Hopefully I can continue on.